Alrighty, here we go again. More SHOCKADIN action. In a group right now as a Dominus healer for the dragons. So I'm grabbing a flask and then heading off to Duskwood. I already have a couple mongooses. Okay, perfect.
What can I do for you? Light.
Let's take a look at the gear really quick while we're in flight. 4-piece Judgment for the Consecrate bonus. 5-piece CG for the Holy Shock and the Exorcism bonus. Got a Dominus shoulder on. The good old Silk Cloak. These are just more ZG slots. Blaze Fury Retributor to help reset my Exorcism. Hold on, I gotta let the dog out. Okay, where were we? Judgment gloves, more ZG stuff, leggings of the Grand Crusader, Judgment boots, my Zanzil's rings, CG trinket, and Kiss of the Spider. Mostly because it has hit on it. And the haste is really good for just overall DPS and exo resets, which translate to more healing via Dominus. Does this character have full SHOCKADIN previs? No, it's this guy is actually pretty lacking in the weapon department. I need to get off my ass and go finish the Truthbearer quest line on him. Blaze Fury Retributor is actually my best one hand. Other than that, I do have most of the other previous gear, other than some like niche pieces of Time Worn, like the cloth boots, which I'm hoping to get here. Yeah, I'm basically a healer for this run. Okay, get my soft res in. I'll swap to show the healing after the fight. I want to have damage and threat up while it's going. Or maybe I'll swap the threat off after the fight starts going so you can see the healing. I'll put it up for trash too. Nobody's here yet. Yeah, on the sim, so this is something that you've always got to think about if you're going to play Dominus, because if you're actually being put in the healer role, it's not simply just the DPS loss of like not taking Crusader Strike. It's that there are going to be times where it makes sense to hold your damage in order to time your shock or your exo and do a big heal on the tank, if that makes sense. So there's playstyle differences that do reduce your DPS more. In my opinion, if you're just able to do your pure DPS rotation, you're probably going to end up with a lot of overhealing from Dominus, and so like trying to apply the sim values to that, really it can create some misleading conclusions. There are some fights though, like Patchwork, where your tank is just consistently taking so much damage throughout the fight. You're basically, you don't need to time your rotation. You just send it as Dominus, right? So there's a time and a place for to really min-max the healing and the damage. But on a lot of fights, it's a little bit different. I believe this Warlock needs shards. Yeah, I mean, there's depending on how you gear and like what kind of raid damage you're taking, there's a ton of nuance to using the Dominus rune. I don't play other classes that much, especially not in SOD anymore. But I'm not aware of any other class that has the amount of build diversity that Paladins do right now. It's pretty crazy. And the main reason I say that is just looking at the sim chart for all the classes. You see there's like 5 different slots for Paladin on there. And that does not even include the Dominus builds. Which technically isn't really like a DPS role, so I suppose it doesn't belong there. Yeah, my bank is chock full of gear too. I've come close, very close to getting rid of my tuxedo and my monocle. But I decided to just farm out more gold and get bigger bags. No, Dominus heals from Holy Shock, Exorcism, Holy Wrath, and Consecrate. And with Holy Wrath and Consecrate, it heals for every target that those abilities are hitting. So if you do a Consecrate on 4 targets, there will be 4 instances of Consecrate damage that all get translated into your beacon and become a heal. Which means the more things you're doing damage to, the more healing you're pumping into the beacon. No mages. Need my intellect buff. It's like my battle shout as a SHOCKADIN. Am I crazy enough to have an intellect potion? I don't think so. Yeah, Exemplar is a good option. You have to basically run the full tier 2 with Exemplar Shoulder, and really you're pushing more into the healer territory with it, but you can do some kind of interesting group healing. Yeah, I mean, look, if you're really pumping against the tank that's not super geared, you probably will pull threat. But I mean, I think a geared Ret Paladin is going to have the same issue. There have been plenty of times I've had to throttle as a Ret against the tank when I outgeared them. And SHOCKADIN is in a position right now where we're able to obtain more of our BIS without stepping into Scarlet Enclave than other classes are. So it's just something to keep in mind, especially if you're pugging. Yep. Pulling on trash is usually not the worst thing. There's some trash mobs that are pretty dangerous, but pulling on a boss, you're pretty likely to just get crushing blowed and killed in one hit. How do you get Dominus and Exemplar at the same time? You have to wear the 6-piece tier 2 and then put Exemplar on your shoulder. Not the full set, but 6 pieces of it, yeah. Oh, we have a Warlock tank. Very nice. You love to see it. I believe that means threat will not be an issue. I'm wearing 4-piece tier 2 right now just because I want the bump to my Consecrate healing. It's a good bonus to have anytime you run Dominus, in my opinion, but it is optional. Is someone doing salve? Okay. Excellent. inspiration on. Toot my horn. No, none of the Dominus or Exemplar setups sim higher than the pure
4,
int gear
3, 2,
with CG set.
1.
And like I said, realistic gameplay for Dominus is not really doing your pure DPS rotation to begin with, so the sim kind of inflates those numbers a little bit. Time for pumpage. Oh, my breath's getting up there.
Watch your step.
Whoops. And not to do too much threat, but be able to bubble. There we go. Dragon's almost dead. This one's always kind of sketchy. Tank heals were great though, not gonna lie. He was never in danger. Are these guys? I can't seem to be able to heal any of them. So clearly we have too many healers in this raid. You know, which makes me wonder. The raid lead seemed excited about me running the beacon build. But the thing about Dominus is there has to be the opportunity to heal. So even though I was doing, you know, good damage compared to everyone else in the raid, the healing part of it really did not pan out. Only 10k through my beacon throughout the whole fight. And that's partially because it was a chaotic fight and the Warlock ended up not having aggro the whole time. The Rogue literally didn't take any damage, so I never even considered swapping my beacon to him. I probably just should have thrown it onto like one of the other healers or something. These are the type of things you have to evaluate like all the time if you want to really take advantage of the healing. Does it bother me that people previously called Shock a meme and now they're playing it because the damage is good? No, it doesn't really bother me at all, and in fact I think that it to me it's vindicating because I have constantly tried to tell people that SHOCKADIN is a fun build, people would really enjoy it, and the main reason they don't play it is because every single time that we get a SHOCKADIN set or some kind of buff, it ends up not panning out in the sim and being so bad that we have to actively tell people not to play it if they want to get invited to a raid. So I think that I'm being proven right about that by the fact that instantly, now that SHOCKADIN's become good, it's blowing up. And it's not even better than red. Are you talking about the flurry axe, Mohammed? It's probably not bad. Is the SHOCKADIN floor better than the ret floor, though? Realistically, it just depends on how good your gear is. As soon as ret gets, obviously, before you get your Scarlet Enclave gear, the SHOCKADIN floor is higher. Once ret gets its Scarlet Enclave set, the ret floor is higher, in my opinion. Realistically, the differences between the spec, or the two specs, is that it's going to come down to like RNG, uptime, who didn't or did have to do a boss mechanic, things like that are going to have a much bigger impact than like SHOCKADIN versus ret. Yeah, I mean, the previous sims are one thing. I'm not sure exactly how relevant they are anymore. Because one, people have a couple weeks of Scarlet gear now, and two, those previous sims are all wearing the Dark Moon Twisting Nether card. So realistically, they're all nerfing themselves by having a trinket on that does no damage, because it's considered to be a prog build. And I think most people didn't even do that to begin with, so...
Watch your step.
Yeah, was it the best representation of like what a Priebus looks like for the majority? I don't know. I missed the pillar. Trying to dodge the fog. My pants rune fell off. The rogue needs healing. My threat plates are turning yellow. And I have 2 damage meters on for some reason. Let's fix that. We'll go over to healing. I'm nowhere on the meter. top damage somehow. These other guys must be sleeping a lot too. Getting the hollowed ground under the warlock. Put the beacon on him. Gauntlets of the Shining Light. So let's see overhealing. There we are. Now we're on the meter. 177k overhealing from Beacon, so... Yeah, and that's because we just sat there and did damage. We didn't move Beacon around or try to swap heals. I think the previous sim for SHOCKADIN actually has been nerfed a little bit now. We just discovered a bug last night where sunlight does not or no longer benefits from Judgment of the Crusader. So it is doing a little bit less damage. And yeah, 10k for a previous sim is high in the context of like frogging the raid in the first week. But we're on to like the third lockout now, and a lot of people have gear. So I don't really think it's too insane because of the timing of when it was added. Also, I think there's very few people out there that actually have that previous set with a hunger and cold, etc. I know of like one or two guys. This guy just whispered me and said, "Holy shit, are you a SHOCKADIN?" Keep going back to damage. just dumb and I'm doing it myself and then forgetting? That's probably what's happening. Thank you, Pants, for inspiring me to ignore that fear. Oh, fuck. Suppose we'll use the wings here. Not even on the meter. Oh, there I am. My beacon of light did 386. Yeah, there's just way too much healing in here to even compete in that regard. 386 healing. That's hilarious. There we go. Let's get something relevant, like Tiny Threat. Oh. I am using the Blaze Fury Retributor, which is not the best Shockadin weapon. It happens for the Blaze Fury effect with the extra 2 fire damage to help me get more exorcisms out. Just gives you more quality of life as far as your rotation goes, and if you're playing Dominus, you want to have exorcism available at all times. Not that it's actually necessary in this raid, because we have a shit ton of healers, but that is how I would normally play it.
Five, 4, 3, 2, 1.
have restorative
Watch your
potions. I can
step.
drink one. I'm sleeping. Silenced again. It's a great fight. Silenced again. There we go. Silenced again. Yes, Truthbearer would be better. It's crazy. I can't even toot the horn when I'm silenced. Don't run away, bro. Oh, you're gonna die if you do that. Grand Sorcerer does not proc from Sunlight. It will proc from Consecrate, the initial cast of Consecrate only, and your Holy Wrath, Exorcism, and Holy Shock. I believe Judgment of Righteousness will also proc it, but Crusader doesn't. And we don't really run Righteousness, so... No luck on the loot there. It's been 4 or 5 runs of dragons on all my paladins so far. I have not seen either of the boots I'm looking for. Right now I'm using Blaze Fury Retributor from ZG. The other good options would be Truthbearer, Widow's Remorse from Nax, or Hunger and Cold from Nax. Realistically, you would just want to go as fast as you can with a relatively good weapon. You could probably even run something like End of Dreams if you were really desperate. Alright, let's see what other kinds of raids are going on. AQ40? I think I do need to do that, don't I? See if they invite us. Right away, alright. I think I have some consumables in the mailbox I can grab. Some mana potions just in case. Is there anything to lip in AQ? Not really. Shadow protection is probably pretty useful. Hand of nature. I believe Widows was slightly better than Truthbearer last I simmed it. Now, on a short encounter, you know, say you're doing Nax or something with a bunch of 1-minute bosses, Truthbearer might actually be better when you get good proc uptime on it. It pushes it to be slightly faster than Widow's Remorse, and it does have the spell power and some of the stats that you would want. But on a longer fight, Widows should win out. One other thing that I've noticed since I've been playing with Sunlight is that now that we're using Seal of Crusader and swinging extremely fast, you gotta keep an eye on your weapon durability. I use Truthbearer for my Abyss weapon on my other Paladin because it's what I have, but like I said, if you're on a longer encounter, you should use Widow's Remorse. If you're on a short encounter, then you can go ahead and use Truthbearer. And Truthbearer should slightly edge it out, given that you get uptime on the proc. Otherwise, just run Widow's Remorse if you have it, and don't worry about it. 1-minute boss fights really aren't that relevant right now, so it's not something to play around, it's more just something to consider for the future when your raid starts, you know, killing Beatrix in 1 minute flat or something. Gonna have to change my setup a little bit since we're back in a DPS role. We don't really need the judgment stuff on. We've got to swap to the Erythor Tabard. Drip ourselves out. These boss fights will probably be really fast in here, so I'm going to run Scrolls and Kiss at the same time instead of Hand of Reborn Justice. Let's see, is there any other amazing swap I can make? I don't think so. I could wear Wormscale Blocker and get an extra little bit of crit, or actually a little bit of damage because I don't have a Law of Nature on this Grand Marshal's shield, but the plan is to buy another Grand Marshal's shield and Law of Nature that, because you can't put a value on the DPS you get from looking good. Yes, Hunger and Cold is better than Widow's Remorse. Hunger and Cold is Biss. That extra hit proc on it is huge. On top of it just being incredibly fast and high DPS. It's also got the dodge and parry reduction, if I remember right, which is something that you don't have an opportunity to get very much of that on SHOCKADIN gear, so it's actually a fairly helpful stat. Yeah, I just don't have those weapons on this character. I'll probably do a Demon Fire Canyon or Demon Fall Canyon later today and get Truthbearer done. I'm on the last step of it on this tune. But I left my portal open for a long time because I just like to go in there and kill Arthas here and then and show him who the boss is, you know? Let him know that he sucks at the game, that he's a noob, I'm a pro, and that's just how it is. When you abandon the light, you gotta get wrecked by paladins from the future. What I'm referring to, if anybody doesn't know, is that you can actually engage Arthas and fight him in the one-player instance that you go back to for the Truthbearer sword as a paladin. And if the light is with you, you can kill his ass and save Uther. You know, there's a reason they said that Season of Discovery isn't canon. And it's because of me. Oh, Nikolai, sorry, I never responded to your last comment. Yeah, Mighty Intellect is the Bis enchant, and a lot of that has to do with the stat scaling that it receives through Kings and the ZG buff. So it ends up being more than you would think. Better do my SR. Let's see, what do I even want from this place? The gloves, Pop of Cthulhu, and I want another Kalimdor's Revenge, to be honest. I want a weapon chain one for PvP. What's a 3 SR? What else should I pick? Maybe I should wait for other people to SR so I can see. There is another person on Kalimdor's Revenge. How evil is it of me to take it from another Ret Paladin so I can have a weapon chain weapon? I don't know if that is very Paladin-like. I actually won 2 Kalimdor's Revenges on my dwarf last night off stream, and I gave one away to a hunter that didn't even have a weapon. Well, I'm gonna keep 1 SR on it, because you never know. 2 of them could drop, like the last run. I don't see anyone else on the Darkstorm gloves. Let me just look at the loot in here. Is there anything I'm forgetting about? Scarab Brooch could be cool to have. I don't know if I want to put an SR on it, though. Hell am I? Can't see shit. That was loot in my face. Oh, the execution bracers. Oh no, I don't want those. Never mind. Strength gear. Don Rigoberto's hat, you know what? That's a drip set soft res item right there, is what that is. How could I forget the Don? Good question. Is the new version of Hodge better than the caster one? For a SHOCKADIN, honestly, I am not sure. It's not something I have looked into. It'd be pretty easy to sim it and find out. Extra attacks are really good, but so is extra damage on every hit, and I mean, hit rating is something that is hard to pick up on SHOCKADIN, so It could actually be a great trinket. If you haven't done the quest yet, I would go to the sim and let that answer your question, because you can always get a normal Hand of Justice. And the difference between the old one and the new one is like, what, 10 attack power or something? Yeah, if you don't have some of the other pieces, it's absolutely worth it to run the tier 2 two-piece for the 5% crit. It's not a big deal to drop it either, but it's still a great option. And realistically, you know, if you're looking at your stats, being under crit cap is not good for Shockadin, because you want to be shocking as often as possible in the off chance that you get a resist, right? If that happens, you only have 10 seconds on your sunlight buff, and your holy shock cooldown is going to be 6 seconds, which means if you don't have another shock ready to go, you know, it can be bad, is what I'm trying to say. It can cause your sunlight buff to fall off. I've never received like a player donation or anything. A lot of people have given me like free enchants on my gear and stuff, or refused my tip, so that's kind of cool. Yeah, Asmon and S1 do get stuff all the time. They're big, long time streamers, so that's how it is. And honestly, you know, if I was getting a bunch of free gold from streamers and everybody else, I wouldn't have a lot of incentive. Oh, 69 silver, huge. I wouldn't have a lot of incentive to go out and figure out the gold farms that I enjoy doing and making videos on those. So yeah, that's a lot of what propped up my Shockadin content, and my reason for playing the build was because I needed to go farm gold. So if somebody had just given me a bunch of gold, you know, that may not have happened. Is there a way to play Holy Shock before the ZG set? Yes. You know, you can run either the Shock or the Exorcism bonus on your shoulder. I would recommend, if you don't have any ZG gear, to just go with the Shock bonus and then Prio Shock, and just kind of leave Exorcism as your lowest Prio ability. You're not going to notice a huge difference, other than it's a little bit less fun to play around with, because, you know, big number, more fun, right? And then once you get the 3-piece CG set, you can swap that shoulder over to the Exorcism bonus, and you're good to go. For just a pure, like, DPS, the fastest way to, like, get there as a Shockadin, I would say grind reals, pick up your 4-piece tier 2 off of the vendor, and then get the Holy Shock shoulder bonus. What gear do you want to soft res from here? You probably want the gloves if you don't have them. They're like insane if you don't need a hit piece. The boots are actually really good, the tier set boots, if you don't have a good pair of boots. If you don't have a fetish, I would SR that for sure, for fun. Uh, Blazing Light, leg plates of Blazing Light are good if you need a leg plate. And they also, you know, if you happen to be using the Time Worn Ring because you don't have Zanzels, that they're even better. I was struggling to figure out my third soft dress too. I mean, you could always just do something like the Void thingy if you have a cool AQ weapon you want to put it on. I accidentally SR'd that in an AQ20 I did on my other Paladin, and then it turns out that I had it in the bank, so the raid leader just got to keep it. Oh, someone's dropped a feast for us? We've got a chef in the raid. I'm going to be putting on Hallowed Ground over Divine Storm because that's just how I like to play. Divine Storm is probably technically a little bit better for cleave, but so is healing your entire group. And there's a lot of AoE damage that goes out in AQ. To the point that running Hallowed Ground on my Ret got me rank 1 All-Stars for the entire phase without even really trying too hard. I mean, I do time my Consecrates with outgoing damage pretty often, but that's because it's not an ability that you prio otherwise. One of the best spots for it in here is on Visitus, because there's constant AoE ticks going out on the raid throughout the entire fight, so your Hallowed Ground is almost never overhealing. Another good fight for it is Sartura during her Whirlwind. You can throw your Hallowed Ground down too, so that you don't have to run out or anything. You're getting a lot of passive healing from that, especially if you have wings up. Let's take a look at Cancelot's set. Let's see what he's running. Maybe you guys can get some ideas. He's got the Truth Bearer with the Intellect Enchant. You can opt for the 65 spell power on Truth Bearer. It's basically equivalent with the Intellect, though. He's got a pretty good set going. Pretty decent. I bet we're going to see him on the meter. Crit cap is 99% because there is a 1% miss that you can never get rid of. It's not going to determine a whole lot of gear choices for you, but it might change some things like using the agility versus the strength Time Worn Ring. For your character sheet, I'm not 100% sure because you have to factor in the Wrath crit, and I don't think that's reflected 100% in there. Correct me if I'm wrong. But yeah, you want to shoot for 99%. And that's specifically on, like, your spell crit. Melee crit, not nearly as important, but you want to have, you want to always have shock on that 3-second CD, just for mechanical, functional reasons of always maintaining the sunlight buff. So you'll have to do a little bit of personal math of just factoring in your wrath crit, which would be just, you know, just look at whatever your numbers are on the sim, or like right now I've got a rack of world buffs, so I can go look. I can see I have almost 38% melee crit, and I have 46% spell crit, almost 47. So I would add those two together. That would tell me what my crit is. I believe bosses do have some degree of crit suppression as well. That's not something I have just stored in my brain, though, so you'd have to look into that yourself. You may be able to go higher than 99% for boss mobs and be okay. Or it might be crit suppression that you can't overcome, so that would make your crit cap actually a little bit lower, but, you know, whichever way it goes. I can't really speak too much to that portion of it. Valve, right? Alright, excellent. Oh, I've got a warlock that wants Don Rigoberto's. Got some competition on the drip. Well, that's okay. You know, one of the nice things about doing all these raids and trying to collect all this niche gear is I'm getting quite a few reals, and it's at least making me some gold on the side while I'm doing all this. Got like 20 righteous orbs sitting around from it now. Should probably put Crusader Strike back on my bar. There we go. We're cranking. I do need a mount. Yes.
Stop attacking.
Always forget mine in my bank.
Stop attacking.
Got a Giga Chad rat in here. Look at that. You love to see it. What boxes are more profitable these days? I am not exactly sure. I heard that there was a recent buff to the newer ones, the War-Torn boxes.
Stop attacking.
But I haven't bought any in the last couple of days, so couldn't tell you. I've been getting pretty decent stuff out of the normal ones. Full
Stop
threat.
attacking. Stop attacking. Stop attacking. Stop attacking.
Put on rebuke just in case.
Five, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Chilling out till a mind control happens. There it goes. Now I'll pop wings. Oh, that poor soul.
Spirit incoming. Spirit incoming.
Accidentally killed him. Whoops. Darn start attack. Picked him up right as the boss died.
Spirit incoming.
Oh.
Spirit incoming. Spirit incoming.
Do I think Blizzard will nerf this build? I don't really think that there's a reason for them to. It performs lower than Ret does on the Sims, and as you can see, I'm getting beaten by a Ret Paladin right now in this raid. I think that a lot of people are seeing Sims from people that don't actually know what they're doing, that have unrealistic levels of DPS, and I think a lot of people are seeing, you know, guys like me that know every little thing about this build and have basically already mastered it, and have a near-bis set of gear that are just destroying the meters against pugs. And those aren't real good things to base a nerf on, in my opinion. Bubble the mind control, like a good paladin.
Spirit incoming.
Time to put the fear pants back on. I have a weak aura. It's just called Crit Lightsaber Sound, and you can find it on wago.io, which is the site where all the weak auras are.
Spirit incoming.
Yeah, I mean, if you think I'm OP, look at Walton, man. This guy's cranking. I wonder if he has his 2-set from Scarlet. What, are they not popping buffs again or something? Whatever.
5, 4, 3,
There you go, boys. Pump away. Better see some big dam. Come on, Pants, don't fail me now. Thank you.
Spirit incoming.
See, that is where you put the hollow crown down. I knew the spirits were incoming, bosses were moving around, somebody was going to blow us up. And I'm still kind of low, so I'm just going to put another hollow.
Spirit incoming. Spirit incoming.
Seems like... Okay, there we go. Must have been getting partials on my shocks, or he had a shield wall up or something. So I did pretty good DPS there. I would argue that I'm probably one of the most feared people and probably had the best uptime in that fight, though. I got pretty lucky with my inspiration ticks. It basically got me out right away, twice in a row.
Spirit incoming. Spirit incoming. Spirit incoming.
AQ trash.
Spirit incoming.
A bubble. That seems like the play here.
Spirit incoming.
Rest in peace, all those world buffs. Guy says, I hate streamers. I wonder why. Raid seems fine. It's just AQ trash is toxic. It is what it is. Alright, boys, back on the horse. Let the tanks do their thing. Let's see which DPS forgot how to play smart. You know, it was a long time since all those people died already, a couple of minutes, so they might have forgot how to play the game. Looks like we're doing great.
Spirit incoming.
There we go. Like I popped this bubble. I helped heal a little bit. It's no problem. Unfortunately, we lost our Gigapumper Walton. Must have got flung. Ground. What the hell? I think it just teleported me back to it? Oh, a lot of people are dead. Ooh, not good. Does she reset? I think she does. That was not the play. Let's DI this Resto Druid. Thanks, bro. Mm-hmm. They are pulling the boss on accident, trying to res people. Yeah, Zia, that's just the way it is. It's kind of always been that way if you take a geared character back into older content. You gotta put the team on your back. Oh, they're trying to arrest people again. They didn't learn their lesson. I think that guy just left the raid after he aggroed. Oh, shit. Yeah, you gotta love the old pug environment. Hey, it looks like we're just waiting on our one last person to get summoned. Oh, no, 3 people out of range. And then we can watch this boss blender everybody again. I'll be chilling in my hollowed ground, staying alive. Our Giga Chad Resto Druid is back. All is well. Yeah, Zia, believe it or not, I get a lot of questions about sunlight too. All right. priest. Don't mind if I do. Time to see what these guys are made
4,
of.
3, 2, 1.
Shoot my horn. Stay away until they separate. There we go. Okay. We're gonna stun Moon. Everybody can kill it. Or square. Turn this way so I can get knocked at least toward this door. Holy hell, everybody's alive? We're doing it.
Watch your feet.
Hollow ground, keep me up. Put
Watch
back
your
down.
feet. Watch your feet. Watch your feet.
Put more wind in. There we go. A 6-second kidney shot. Huge.
Watch your feet.
Leg plates of blazing light. I think there's somebody after that. I'm an enjoyer of those in my PvP set. Oh, I gotta do the chest. There's reels up in there. Sartura's Might. It's good for somebody, right? A couple of healers rolled on it.
Your courage.
Have I thought about using the healing shield or trinket on my exo heal build? Well, the exo heal build, I tend to run two-hander so that I can take advantage of exo communicator, and that kind of rules out using a shield. With the shock build, yeah, sure, you can throw a healing shield or trinket on. The healing portion of it isn't going to benefit your Dominus heals, though, but, you know, in the situation where the tank needs more healing and you don't have Holy Shock, you know, maybe Shock didn't crit and your melee didn't crit, and you don't have Exorcism or Shock up to send, you might cast a heal. So those are the kinds of things that you really have to just take a look at your own personal raid environment and figure out if it'd be useful for you.
3, 2, 1.
Or were you referring to Scarab Breach, maybe? I might have misinterpreted your comment. Or question, excuse me. I've thought about using Scarab Breach. There's just usually an actual healer that needs it, and I have so many trinkets in my bags at all times. It's tough to justify the bag slot at this point. I can't really think of a situation where I would use Scarab Brooch, but I don't know, maybe it's really good and I'm just sleeping on it. I haven't had an opportunity to ethically take it yet, so... I try not to roll on, too much stuff that I don't actually need over someone that needs it main spec. There's a lot of damage going out. Must have been that curse.
Watch your feet. Watch your feet. Watch your feet. Watch your feet.
Hopefully they don't get the poison on them up there. That would be tragic.
Watch your feet.
Well, it happened. This is awkward now. We gotta kill these guys. Oh, and the boss came over? Reset him, bros. Or are we killing him? I guess we're killing him.
Watch your feet.
They have an off-tank for worms. Nobody knows. I should probably kill them. This is a lot of bugs, dude. It's not good. Uh-oh. Okay. I believe this is a Holy Wrath situation. Sending it.
Watch your feet. Watch
Gotta
your
get on the
feet.
horse. It's enraged. Well, at least the boss is gonna die. I think. There it goes. What a rush. Props to Jillen for doing all the damage. I believe this is a run back angle here. Nobody's mining the obsidian? How tragic. I'm gonna need to put my rocket belt on, just because my mount's in my bank. This guy. Or gal. Apparently the raid assist is, or one of the raid assists is trolling, kicking people or something. I don't know what's going on.
Death is close.
I'm not wearing Hunger and Cold because I don't own one.
Watch your feet.
Let's help the healers out a little bit.
Watch your feet. Watch your feet. Watch your feet.
We made it back. Oh, a fetish dropped. That'll be good for somebody.
Watch your feet.
Well, hopefully these mages don't troll on Visitus like my last run did. There was one or two people just spamming Blizzard the entire time. And it took us so long to get Frost stacks that the raid was... Too many people were dead to shatter him by the end. Better swap my belt back to Grand Crusader.
Watch your feet.
Oh! The poison came out. Oh no, people are gonna die right after the buffs. Oh. Gotta watch your feet, bros.